Happy Thursday, everyone. Happy Thursday. Welcome back to week 2 of Let's Talk Live with the Mindset Maven. I am your host, Shayla Bryan, your international mindset maven. So, Let's Talk Live focuses on how to get back dominion over your mind and your life by conquering the most common challenges that women face on a day to day basis. Now, how we do this is through a series of dynamic teachings, conversations, and principles that we will learn to apply to our life and to help us get a breakthrough, to help us identify how to conquer in our personal lives and our personal journeys. So, our goal, my mission and my vision overall is to help women become bold, courageous, and take action to live in life to their fullest potential, to live an optimal life, to live life on their terms. But I always often ask this question to most people is, what does living life on your terms look like, right? In this day and age, right, with so much filtering of the perfect relationships, the perfect life, what does life on your terms look like for you, right? That's a really big question that I'm always asking people. And some people can answer it at that moment, and some people need a little time to ponder that before they can give me a genuine response about what does life on your terms look like, right? So today we're going to talk about life issues. So if you did not catch week 1, which was last week Thursday, we talked about the basics, just getting or starting with the basics about getting on with your life and living your own authentic life. Definitely in the comments or perhaps somewhere in this in the banners, there should be a link to check out our Facebook page. Definitely subscribe and follow so that every week you can get the content of each week. We're going to go over 11 weeks about teachings when it comes down to just living life to your best, to the best of your ability. So I'm excited tonight because I am in season 2. For those who didn't get the season 1 content, again, it's on the Facebook page. I'm going to get right back into it today. When it comes down to tonight's conversation, is your life issues, right? So everyone has issues. I know I do, right? Everyone has issues. So what I want to clarify and make sure I point out is that, your issues might not be, I'm not going to ever minimize no one's issues over the next. There are going to be certain things that you go through in your life that I have probably already went through, and there are going to be things that other people are going through. And some of us can't always relate to all issues everyone is going through, right? So what we need to all keep in mind is that there are going to be things that are keeping you stuck. There are going to be issues that are keeping you stagnant. There are going to be circumstances in your life right now that are completely anchoring you from living and exploring and experiencing your best life. So the truth is that in order for you to live an optimal life, it all depends on how you manage these issues, right? I think I said it last week, but I learned this from a wise man by the name of Les Brown, who said something years ago that really stuck with me. He said, in life, you're either in a problem, you're coming out of a problem, or you're going into a problem. So at the end of the day, that issues or circumstances or challenges is something that we all are going to go through season to season, right? It's how you manage yourself in these challenges or circumstances is how will dictate whether or not you can truly live an optimal life, right? And then it's also important to understand what area of your life are you experiencing these issues, because they're going to be areas in your life that you're going to be doing great, and there are going to be areas in your life that you're not doing so great, and these are the ones that you're facing the greatest challenge. So when we determine the area of your life in which you are maybe going through the greatest challenge of your personal life and the hardest times that you're having to learn to conquer and overcome, you may be able to get some type of solution or some type of principle, some form of coping mechanism, if that's a good way to explain, in order for you to be able to get through it. Because I also learned in life that, when we're going through crisis, we have to go through it. You can't go over it, you can't go under it, you can't go around it. There's no shortcut. there's really no shortcut to anything in life. You have to be able to go through it. And some lessons we're going to go through them over and over because why we may have not learned them. So I want to ask, can you recognize what area of your life are you having any particular issue? Can you recognize it? Because for some people, it could be a social life hang up. For some can be relationship hang up. For some can be their health. For others can be their career. And then for some, it's just, their belief system, their spirituality. um, I've experienced issues in every area of my life, right? I went through a season in my life where I dibbled and dabbled in depression. When I mean dibble and dabble, it's like I was in and out of that, depressing state because it was like one thing after the other and one thing after the other kept happening. And I wasn't quite sure what was I doing wrong or where was it that I wasn't really seeing the challenges coming from and how to identify a way out. So I want to make sure that, if anything, tonight you grab a pen and paper and then just take notes, just sit down and really ponder. We're in a very, very critical season in this year. This year has been a year of ups and downs, highs and lows. There's a lot of people who are experiencing great success, and there are people who are experiencing great failures. But like I always say, that failures are really nothing other than teaching experiences. They're simply lessons, not loss. They're just lessons. It's just, again, how do you manage? How do you see them? How do you mentally perceive and are able to sift through your challenges? Is how you're going to be able to get through it, learn the lesson that you need to learn, become stronger, wiser on the other end of that, and then have the opportunity to help other people as well. That's why I think that 2020 is like never before. You see coaches popping up all over the place. You're seeing people doing a lot of Zooms and a lot of people doing videos and content after content after content, which a lot of it is great. But the reality is that, some things are going to have to be a personal choice and a personal experience to conquer and overcome. So let's see whether or not you're having issues in certain areas in your life. So let's start with your, social life, right? We understand that 2020 we experienced a major quarantine order. Everybody was forced to be at home, and I know that was probably the most fun season for those people we call introverts, right? And for people like me, an extrovert or someone who just likes to go out, I'm a social butterfly, I'm a social bug. I just love going out. I love meeting people. I love hanging out, being out, and just having a good time. It was really, really tough, right? It was one of the hardest and the most challenging experiences to be in quarantine, to be home every single day. And obviously, for a lot of people, it was as well a very challenging experience. So that could have affected a lot of us when it comes to our social life, right? It probably could have caused, I don't know for anyone else, but not being able to go into the conferences, because I always did a lot of conference appearance. I did a lot of events and support a lot of people in my community, a lot of phenomenal, powerful women who always had amazing events together. That affected me in my social life. So I couldn't connect with people like I did in the past. It was really, really hard for me to just sit on a computer. I'm already in my office all day long on a computer, and then having to be home and sitting another couple hours or a few days out of the week, watching, videos and things like that was really, really challenging. I didn't feel like doing it a lot of times, right? So for me, not being able to connect with the people and being able to just have what you call the chest to chest connection was really, really difficult. And it was hard for me to get through that. So what I did in order to get through that, when it came to my social life, I made it my business to have one-on-one conversations, which were intimate conversations, and just being able to keep up with those people who I admire, love, care about. I made sure I keep up with those people in my social life that I consider to be people of value in my life, right? So I did not lose those relationships. I did not jeopardize, or then I have a loss at all when it came to those relationships. So that alone was really, really good. In order for me to maintain those relationships, I had to make an effort to communicate, to be in touch, to be in contact. Hey, Tanisha. Tanisha is one of those women who I kept in contact with. I did some, great um, events with, well, virtual events. I mean, we still connected, and we continue to be connected. So I was able to at least again, stay connected to the people who I love, appreciate, and value. So if social life was or is something that you are a big person in when it comes to the social connections, is that you have to identify whether or not you feel neglected, or are you neglecting people in your social life? Are you connecting with these people? Are you making efforts to stay engaged with those individuals? Because not being engaged with those individuals perhaps is where you may feel suffocated, you may feel isolated, you may just feel like, okay, I don't know what's going on. I just feel bored. I'm lazy. I'm not, So there's going to be different feelings and emotions that you're going to, be experiencing when there's an area of lack in your life, when there is an aspect of your life. We call it the circle of integrity, right? The circle of integrity has, as a whole, your spiritual life, your financial life, your emotional life, your intellectual. So there's a whole, list of different aspects of the human individual that keeps us in balance, we call it. So another one of the areas of your life that you could be experiencing an issue, and that is definitely for each individual to sift through and to judge, is social relationships, right? When it comes down to friends, family, your partners, whether or not there's times where we don't want to acknowledge or recognize that, whether it's friends or family, there comes times where we have to recognize it's time to move on. It's time to part ways or sever a friendship, sever a relationship, because they're keeping us stagnant. They're keeping us stuck. We are not able to do things that we desire to do because those relationships are not healthy. I'm not going to sit here and talk about toxic relationships. Everybody knows who in their life right now is extremely negative. Everyone knows that person in their life right now that is always a complainer. They're still complaining, they're still unhappy, they're still broke, they're still going through, all of that extra stuff from 5 years ago. And here you are, you're dreaming, you have a vision for your life, you're stepping out on faith, you're doing things that are challenging you as an individual. But there's people in your life right now, people in close proximity to you, who are stifling that vision, right? So that is an issue, right? If you can identify those people, you identify the issue in relationships that you probably are going through, that's keeping you stuck, that's keeping you anchored, and now you have to make some very, very difficult decisions. I know that for me, I had to make decisions like this multiple times. And I've said it before, friends, family, colleagues, associates, I mean, anyone that right now I believe that is conflicting with my purpose, is conflicting, or is a barrier to whatever it is that I'm trying to accomplish, they just got to go. It's as simple as that. That individual has to be out of my life in order for me to fulfill what it is that I'm supposed to be doing, especially when you're already in awareness and in alignment with your calling, with your purpose. Okay, and it is hard. I'm not going to sit here and say that it is easy to let go of a 5, 10, 15, 20-year friendship, that it's not easy to walk away from a sibling or a parent or a loved one in your life, right? It's not an easy thing to do, but it's a must and a necessary thing to do. So I'm going to leave that up to you to realize in your relationships who has to go, and then pray about it, but definitely don't ponder it for too long, because the longer you sit in that thought process of who needs to be out of your life, the longer it's going to take you to truly fulfill your purpose and live an optimal life. You're absolutely correct, Tanisha. Unwanted relationships have to be severed, have to be eliminated, because it's not about being selfish, it's about being intentional, right? It is very hard to walk away, but again, we have to always understand that we are not to be attaching ourselves to things or people, because we have one purpose on this earth, and it is to fulfill the calling that has been placed on us. And again, I'm speaking to those people who may have already acknowledged and become aware of what their purpose, their calling is, and have understood that in order to get to that place where you are really operating in true authenticity and you are contributing to the kingdom, you have to sever some friendships. Now, there are going to be friendships that are strong. There are great bonds in your life. You have to improve those relationships. So to live an optimal life, we all need community. Okay, I talked about that very heavily in season 1 when I talked about the topic of support. Feel free to go to the YouTube channel. All of the videos are titled, and it's a subject that is support, right? Having support. We understand that we are made to have support. fellowship and to be in communion. We are made to be in groups or to have relationships, to have friendships. We're made for that. But they have to be iron sharpened iron, philosophies, mentalities, like-minded people in your life that are going to see where you're slacking off. I know you and I, Tanisha, talked about accountability many times, and I believe and I appreciate someone who can be genuine when it comes to being accountable to me, because you know what I'm about and I know what you're about. So being able to improve those relationships with the loved ones, with the friends, the colleagues, the associates, the partners, those people who are like you, or perhaps who can see where you're going, and are saluting you and celebrating you and are cheering you on. You want to make sure that you also keep, time and respect and honesty, have your trust factors in order, and also to be supportive towards those people. They may not be going where you're going, but they're going in their own lane, in their own path, and they're also celebrating you as you're in yours. So it is important to now have consciousness when it comes to the relationships in your life. Those that gotta go need to get severed. Those who are strong, those relationships have to be nurtured, and they have to also be maintained. And you might be able to also extend your relationships by giving an opportunity to yourself to meet new people. So another issue of life, and I don't know who I am speaking to, but for some people, we understand also going back to the quarantine. I know for me, I'm guilty. Health condition, health, your health is important. Your health can be an issue that keeps you stuck, stagnant, and anchored, and you may not be experiencing an optimal life if you're not in your peak performance health, right? I know I ate a lot. I know I did. I mean, there was no way to keep snacks for long in my house. I don't know who else can just say I for this one, but let me tell you that I realized that I was gaining weight, that I wasn't sleeping well. I just found myself feeling really, really bad and down. Sometimes just not even in the spirit to doing anything because I know I wasn't eating right. So there's joy in being healthy. There's a lot of joy in experiencing a full healthy body. There's many sayings out here that your health is your wealth, right? Because if you don't take care of your health right now, if you just work, in order to see financial gain and to just work for the money, eventually, if you don't care for your health, you're going to eventually need money to take care of your health, right? So you want to do that now consciously. You want to take time to evaluate, are you in the best health that you can potentially be in, right? Are you doing the things that you need to do to love on your body, to take care of your temple? Okay, you want to take care of your temple. Your environment is a big factor when it comes to your health. Where you live, where you work. Again, that goes also tying back to your relationships. Do you have people in your life who are also health conscious, who exercise, who do things that are active, who eat right? Okay, that's one of the big things is eating right. I have my days, that I may have what you call a me day. Some people call it a cheat day, but I call it a me day. Okay, where I get to do something that I like to do for me, and it's not necessarily the routine of healthy eating. Okay, so your general health would be significantly a good payout over a period of time of your life. If you can think about it now, how would you like to feel by the time you're 50, 60, 70, right? How would you like to feel? What would your general health look like? So it's also important that you take inventory of your health now and begin to do small little steps, you know, in order to improve your health. Make decisions that are going to be for you in the long term. A lot of times we don't necessarily, most of the times, we don't necessarily look at long term. It's good to have vision for your life. It matters to have vision for your life because you can see where you are going, right? Now, I want to be able to just say that if you are like me, who like the idea of staying fit and healthy, get an accountability partner, get a workout buddy, or just get someone that will always check in on you, or that you have to check in on that person and say, hey, this is what I'm doing, this is how I'm, going about it, and then having someone to help you, because again, it's important to think about your health in the future, but you have to start today to plan for your physical health for tomorrow. All right. Erica says that you're going crazy counting calories. Well, you're better than me, sis, because I don't really do the calorie counting. What I do is I primarily do a lot of juicing, a lot of vegetables, fruits. I'm very mindful not to eat starch all the time, and I don't count my calories, So I've met many people who do that and it works for them. I made an attempt to do it and it was a disaster. So I realized I have to stick to what works for me. And what works for me is to maintain a balanced eating, right? A balanced eating is what works for me. So identifying whether or not your health is an issue right now, keeping you stuck and stagnant, is definitely something you want to take notes, because it is something you can work on. It is hope. There is areas of improvement. And I know there's something that I love to share when it comes down to the room for improvement is a big room. And I like to sit somewhere in the middle in the room of improvement so that I can look around myself and look around my life and understand, assess where it is that I can do better, and go straight to that area of my life and begin to work on it. So another area of life that most people can be experiencing emotional problems, experiencing, issues when it comes to being emotionally intelligent, right? Um, I'm a very emotional person already. That's by nature. I'm very emotional. I'm an empath. I connect with people spiritually. I connect with people, and I'm a light carrier. I'm always feeling the burden of other people's pain. So I can tell you that, like, social relationships, having negative people around you, right, can always factor into your emotions. You can have down moods, feeling emotionally drained, spiritually drained, just always feeling like edgy. It is important to understand what affects you emotionally in your surroundings, in the relationships. Again, all of these things tying together, right? It's just like a rope. When you have all these links and sections of your life, or just like I call it, the circle, this wheel of integrity. When all of these areas of your life are strong and they're healthy, you are going to be able to live an optimal life, a peak life, right? And live it fully to the best of your abilities. But if you're not around people who have, the right mindset like you do, who are not maybe sound emotionally, people who are negative, that will affect you as well emotionally. Um, it will always have a an effect on you consciously and subconsciously. Okay, you can feel irritable, inferior, embarrassed, guilty, inadequate. I mean, you can feel stressed by having people around you or being in environments that are not conducive to you and who you are as a person. I learned how, me being in certain environments was not conducive for me. I learned how that certain relationships were not conducive for me. I had conversations earlier this year with, I did a podcast with a gentleman earlier this year where I talked about, me not being my authentic self. And I was obviously having the same relationships over and over. Okay. Why was I having those same relationships? Because emotionally, I felt somehow inferior to the man that I was involved with, and in an inferior way, meaning I wasn't really true to myself. I wasn't even conscious of the emotions that I was suppressing, right? Because I was suppressing these emotions, I had the same type of relationship in a period of years with three different people, same relationship. I had to say, wait a minute, I had to pause, and then I had to go reflect and assess. It was me, right? I didn't have my emotions in order. I didn't have emotional intelligence. I didn't develop that spiritual muscle, and it took me some years to work on it. Okay. Today, I feel that when it comes down to being an emotionally intelligent woman, I have learned how to balance myself. And when it comes down to meeting people and having new partnerships and new relationships, I'm easily able to identify them at the gate. Identify the purpose of why we're going to be friends. Identify the purpose in why we're going to work together. Identify the purpose of this new emotional connection. That way I know that I don't inadvertently create an enemy, or perhaps I don't set myself up for a big long term failure. Okay? So keep in mind, like Erica says, keep in mind having like minded people around you that you may be, tied to for work projects, or community projects, social projects, or just having a friend. It's always good to have a friend. in order to just have your own intimate partner, not just we're not talking just a partner like a husband or a boyfriend. We're talking a sister friend, we're talking a girlfriend, someone that can have and sustain you through when you're going through your emotional ups and downs, because it's life. It happens to all of us. So definitely take a look at your emotions. Make sure that you check yourself, balance yourself emotionally, work on that emotion, work on that spiritual life, and understand that ultimately you are in control of how you receive and perceive everything that is in the exterior. And that's what you program yourself to either feel a certain way about people around you, how they talk to you, how they perceive you and project towards you, or how you yourself respond to what it is that is in your environment. So another issue for some people is probably career. We know that right now many people were or are still without an income, without a job. A lot of people are still trying to identify how they're going to be able to make their bills and make ends meet. But I can tell you that for a lot of people who may have been in one job or one career for a period of time, and due to the crisis and the pandemic, they lost their means of income. Having that as an issue, probably for many people, drove them to another area, another field, or to do something like entrepreneurship. I'm so happy to see through even my social media platform, many people decided to go into entrepreneurship. And I know that's not for everybody. And I'm not encouraging, and I would never tell someone to go do something they're not equipped, they're not ready, and they're not in position to do. But I'm saying that identifying if your career currently right now, it is an issue. You hate your job, or you're not satisfied with how your business is going. That could be an issue that's keeping you stuck. It's keeping you stagnant. It is keeping you anchored from living a peak life, a fulfilled or an optimal life, right? For a lot of people, entrepreneurship, for those like Tanisha, right? It's an example. It's not an easy day-to-day thing. Having a set 9 to 5 is a secure, what they call it, some form of a secure income. But being an entrepreneur where you work for yourself, there's no set time amount of hours that you can work. Or there's not a clocking out of that. So you will have to be on the grind all the time. So identifying whether or not this is somewhere that you want to be, you need to change. Sometimes change is necessary. Change is constant. Change is important. Change is something that needs to be well received, right? If you don't love what you do when it comes to your job, if you're not happy getting up in the morning and going to that job, then just find a new job. If you don't feel like this business is working out, then start a new business, right? This is an issue that's keeping you stuck. And is it you? Am I talking to you who's feeling like whatever you're doing as a career right now, whatever is your income stream right now, and it's just something that's keeping the bills paid, but it's not keeping you fulfilled, then there it is. This is why you feel stuck in life. You may be having great relationships, you may be having peak health, you may be having an awesome emotional and spiritual life, but if you don't believe that the career you're in right now is the right path, it can definitely kick you off that circle or that wheel of integrity that will help you live an optimal life. So I can tell you that experts said that those who are unhappy with their jobs or career, 9 times out of 10 will pursue something that is more of a passion. I've always taught clients when I've had coaching clients, when one of the key questions that I ask them is, are you doing the things that you enjoy doing? Are you doing something that you truly, sincerely believe you should be doing? And when they say no, I ask why. And I'll tell you, 9 out of 10 times, that question has to come back in an answer within days, weeks, and for some people, has been months. Sometimes it takes months to really ask yourself, why am I not doing what I am truly grateful, happy, and purpose and passionate about doing? Right? Very good point, Erica. You start chasing money and started chasing purpose. So reality, purpose really not doesn't chase you. It actually um, is within you, right? It's kind of being aware and awakened to that purpose and going onto being able to fulfill that purpose, like me manifesting that purpose over your life, right?
Once you can identify what it is, because purpose also change. I believe that just like how change is constant, and it's also, you right, based on how much you grow and the season of your life, I believe that purpose also change. It never dies and it never stays the same. Okay. Your purpose will definitely identify itself as you go through life, you grow, and you are in different seasons. um, and that's an example that you will see many, many people that are successful in life. They'll tell you that they started out doing one thing and they proceeded to do something else, and they continue on through life, just evolving and shifting and changing the things that they were doing. So I want to recap tonight, the areas of your life that you could be potentially experiencing an issue, and it's completely throwing off your entire wheel of balance. It is completely keeping you somebody, right? Somebody's going to get something tonight. There's an area in your life that you're experiencing issues that is keeping you stuck, is keeping you stagnant, it's keeping you anchored. And you need to be able to focus on that area of your life, right? Stop focusing on everything else that does not matter, and focus on that one area, particular area, that is the area for you to work on you in order to have a truly fulfilled life. So they're going to be the areas that we talked about will be, whether it's in your social life, right? Your relationships, whether it's in your health, whether you're having emotional issues, and finally in your career, right? These 5 to 6 areas of your life, sit down and write these areas down and ask yourself, are you happy where you are in these areas of your life? And if you are happy, then you're certainly having and living a life that is, purpose. You're living an optimal life. You're living life on your terms. You're at the best of your potential. So this is definitely a good area and a good place to be. But for some that are not, then you have to be able to sit down and truly assess. We have to stop looking at other people's life on social media. Social media is a big place where everybody can be who they want to be, like in Disney. When you think about Disneyland, children are in Disneyland and they can just meet anybody that they have imagined from their favorite TV shows. But social media is not, these platforms are not a place to truly gauge whether or not you're living a fulfilled or purpose life. It's just really not. This is a personal journey. You have to be able to know whether or not you want to continue to live how you're living today. And if not, only you have the power to change it, right? Only you have the power to change how you're living your life. Okay. For some people, they need help. They hire a coach. Some people hire a therapist. Some people, get surround themselves by strong and like-minded individuals who can influence their lives and help them in those areas. So you are correct, Tanisha. Social media is a fairy tale. I don't say sometimes, sis. I say all the times. It's a fairy tale. It depends, and it depends on whose life you're looking at as well. But for the most part, if you think about all the friends you have on social media, like I have almost close to 5,000 people. I probably even I might get to the 100 that I have some form of interaction with, and I can kind of tell those people are doing the right thing, and what they're posting or what they're showing is, their life is who they are, and they're consistent. But outside of that, let me tell you that 99% of the platform are complete facades, make believes, and it's just not a real environment to gauge whether or not you're living a fulfilled life. So, with that, I am definitely thank you all for joining me tonight. I'm looking forward to again next week, Thursday. We're going to talk about, are you causing these issues in your life? What are you doing to bring about these issues, right? Tonight we talked about identifying what area. And when you identify what area of your life you're having these issues, like next Thursday, we're going to get a little more deeper into whether or not it is you who's opening the gateway to these issues to flow into your life, right? So join me next week, Thursday night, again at 7:30. It is going to be a phenomenal conversation. I'm looking forward to seeing you guys. Thank you for joining me tonight. Again, this is season 2 of Let's Talk Live with the Mindset Maven. I am your host, Shayla Bryan. And until next Thursday, feel free to share this video. Again, join the YouTube page so that you can catch the replays, and definitely subscribe for notifications so that every week you get to see the conversations that we're having Great evening, Milton. Good to see you. So, guys, have an amazing rest of your Thursday evening. Be blessed, and I'll see you next Thursday.